Hey everyone, welcome back to yet another episode of Arch's Garage. Well, you guys are like, Arch, we've already seen enough episodes. No, fellas, you haven't seen enough episodes, right? And you got to see this one because this is yet another episode of the Sears Custom. So we're gonna continue from here. What are we gonna do, Arch? What kind of crap you gonna babble on about today? Well, fellas, all right, shush for a minute, right? Give me a chance, right? Takes a little while to do. Listen, I'm not a professional, right? I just play one on YouTube. Actually, no, I don't even play one on YouTube. Arch, shut up. What are you gonna do? All right, listen. So in the last episode, right, we kind of dug the thing out of its hole. Right, dragged it around, I cleaned it up, and mostly a lot of that was I just wanted to kind of make some cool footage, have some fun. Right, because not all of this footage that I do for you fellas is for you fellas. It's for me, right? Because like I like to do some of this stuff too. It's part my hobby and everything, and I'm trying to have some fun. And I wanted us, which includes me and you. We don't get a lot of this stuff up where I am, right? It's not all that easy. There's a few. There's a lot more like scrub cadets out there, but they're expensive. Okay, and I want to do some of the older scrub cadets because we actually have a bunch of them laying around the island, right? I guess there must have been more scrub cadet dealers back in the day. Even though Sears was huge on the island, like a lot of places, there's not a lot of places to store them anymore, right? I want to remind you guys, like where I came from the other county, we all had garages and relatively small properties, but the garage, as everything went up in price and value in homes, people started like destroying their garages and turning them into rentals. And then the cars became everywhere. And so there was no place to store them. When I moved out here, the average property was an acre. Like I have a small property in many ways, considering what most people had when you came out here. It was more farmland or whatever. It was bigger properties. Even in the developments, you had bigger properties. And like my garage, right, was like not attached and it might have been bigger and you had acreage. And the point I'm getting to is that that's changing. People subdivided their properties. They sold off a piece to get some coin, maybe to retire. And in the path of all of that, a lot of these cool old machines that were around just were discarded. They're gone, right? And we're limited resources here. We're on an island. So there is we'll just go a little further out, right? That took place a long time ago. So to find an old suburban like this or Sears Custom or something, that's getting harder and harder. So this thing's a mess, as you can see. And like I said, the first episode is really more about us, including myself, getting familiar with the thing, right? Playing around with it, noodling around with it, spending some time, what I call like getting intimate, right? You got to get to know the thing to understand what's wrong with it. Why is it stuck? You got to unstick it. So we've been working on that. We started to delve into the engine, and I stopped you at what I thought was the best place I could stop, right, in the last episode. So we could see that the motor's got some issues, right? I tried to clean it up, and the compression's very low. So we need to go deeper in and find out why that compression is still so low. Yes, it did run. You might be saying, well, Archie, put that clip in there when Mikey had it and it ran. First of all, it ran, but he said it took forever to get started. And it ran. He said it moved. He kind of cut the lawn a little bit. He just drove it around for a few minutes. This isn't something that you can use. Certainly, it's long away from being a usable machine. At this point, it is. Okay, it's getting closer, and I don't want to spill the beans because I want you to go through the rest of this episode with me, and let's dig in a little bit deeper. We got to get back into the motor. And like I mentioned, it's probably the valves. We got to go in there and see what's going on. And I want you to kind of see what I go through to get one of these things running again. And to see, for those of you that don't have the experiences of a 50-year-old engine that's been rode hard for a long time. Who knows if it was neglected or taken care of, put away wet, right? What do these things get like? Like, what can you expect from them? So let's kind of go back over a few things where we dug into the motor, started fooling around with it, taking a little bit of honing, a little bit of cleaning. You could see that the head wasn't too bad. That's a second head. That's a different head. The original head had the spark plug hole ripped out. Well, right there, okay, you can see this little piece here. that head's no good. That was the original head. So I don't know where Mikey got. Maybe it came from the owner. I don't remember. Mikey, if you're watching, let me know where that second head came from. So we cleaned up that second head, and it was pretty worn. Right, it had some beatness to it. So we got that head to put on, which we did. I'm showing a little bit about what's going on with the top of the deck on the block, right? The what we call the deck of the block is where the head meets to. And it could use a proper decking, really. Somebody needs to shove that thing and put it on a milling machine or something and take, 10, 15 thousandths off, because it's bad. So I'm going to attempt to do some of that. There's some warping going on there, and you can see there's some damage in the cylinder walls. And that's a problem, right? That is, like I mentioned, and there's the rings, okay, because you got some damage. That's scuffing. It might have picked up some dirt. Maybe the oil wasn't changed enough. Maybe it got hot and had dirt. There's a number of reasons why a cylinder wall would that would happen. And keep in mind, this is a Tecumseh engine with the steel sleeve in it. So they were at least considering that the engine would be used more for, industrial commercial use, or I don't know what the word is, the terminology, but it would have been more of a heavy duty engine than a lot of the engines, which are just aluminum. Most of our lawnmower engines and everything, there's no steel sleeves in there. It's, even when you go to hone it out, you'll pull material out quick because it's just aluminum, and they'll warp and wear, and like a Briggs 190cc, something like that. They do pretty good if you change the oil, but if not, you'll warp the hell out of it, and then the rings won't seat because the cylinder will be all weird and bell mouth up at the top, and you can see that there's a ridge on this engine. So it's got some issues there, along with the scratching. Now I was able to remove some of it. You want to be careful because without the piston in there, with the piston in there, you tend to bell mouth, right? You create like a funnel. The one already exists because there's some wear in the cylinder, because you can see the ridge. Now it's not much, but what concerned me was the scratches, and the rings are going to have damage. And so they could lose their tensile strength, like the springiness. There could be little lines cut in the ring face. And I'm pumping a lot of my special sauce down there, the tranny mix, to try to loosen up the rings and defoul and decarbonize. When we get a little bit deeper, you're going to see how carbonized this engine actually is. So let's get to it, right? I just wanted to go over a few things and have some fun, right? These are not really how-tos, but there's a lot of how-to in there. This is more, like the projects where you're sort of hanging out and investigating and fooling around and having a good time. And there's how-to stuff in it, but these are not like, how-to videos. Show me how to do this. I just had a guy today complaining about something he didn't like, running my mouth. He's telling me, so I figured I'd run my mouth. Maybe this guy will watch it and get pissed off because he won't find anything that he likes in the video. I don't know. I think it's a cool video. I had a lot of fun working on this thing. All right, now let me shut up and stop running my mouth, and let's get to work, all right? I'll see you guys in a minute. See all this oil everywhere, right? We're making a mess, but what we're going to do is I'm going to clean this up. Just going to spend a little bit of time here and just kind of work this area a little bit with a brush, put something down, let it drip, rag it up, and then we'll take this cover off and we're going to work in the valves. It's a little crusty. I'm going to stick it in here. We'll let it soak for a little while. We want to turn it over and watch the valve events. So I don't know where we are, so let's see. So we got an exhaust valve, so we just fired. All right, now we got an intake. See the lifter push up the valve. Got a little bit of a bump. It has a compression release. I believe so. All right, so we're going to come up to fire, and we want to go about a 1/4 inch down. That should be fine. Now let's stick in. It's 4 to 10 thousandths. Pretty wide berth. And what can happen is the valves will, from pounding down and springs pulling it, and the weight of the valve pounding down over time, you'll get distortions. And we can see there's some distortions here. Looks like a steel insert up here. So this is, like a heavier motor instead of just the aluminum and a lot of the lighter weight homeowner stuff. And
But this has got a steel insert for a seat, but it'll drop down, and that's called, it'll recede or recession, and the valves will recede downward, and as they come downward, you'll get less clearance. And 4,000 says a minimum. Now, that's not a lot. So I think what could be happening here is we might have like no clearance. As the valves come down, you'll lose your clearance here, and then the valves won't completely seat and you'll lose compression. Also, it'll change the valve timing slightly, which kind of changes the dynamics of the cam profile, and the motor won't run right, and it may not start right. So we may have to grind a little off of the valves. Let's just see. Here's a 4. All right, not bad. No, not bad at all. So that's a 4. All right, let me keep going. Let's jump up to 6. We're good up to 10. Nope. 6 won't go in. Oh yeah, she's getting close. Let me just try that again, because I think I might have had two feeler gauges on it. So there's a 6. There's a 6. Let's try 7. 7's good. All right, so we're getting close. Let's try 8. So these are okay. Up, 8, starting to feel it. That one, no. When the exhaust, yes. So the exhaust is a little tight. Let's try a 9. We're getting real close. Yeah, that's really feeling. I think it's actually starting to push on the valve. Yeah, and we're almost 10 on the intake. Yeah, probably a little bit more. But no go on the exhaust. So we're okay. Yeah, we're okay. All right, let me get out my tool. Now, I'm just going to get the tool. We just got to slide these over. We've got to, you can do it with a screwdriver, but it makes it hard to put it back in again. You kind of need like 7 hands. It's real easy. You can, once you get it, yeah, I got it with my finger. Think valves out, all right? There's our exhaust valve. I'm going to go clean that up. I'll take that one out too. Okay, so the intake uses a pin. Oh, there's goop in here too. Oh, there's casting flash in there. That's nasty. Oh, there is all kind. Let me see if I can get you in there, but that's like either casting flash or carbon, and there's all manner of buildup in there. I'll see if I can get you in. But we'll have to lower it down a little bit. First, we'll work this. I'll clean that out with one of my tools. We'll get in there and we'll get that clean. But there's all manner of yuck in there. And on this one here, yeah, we'll get this all nice and clean. Be nice if we could, yeah, oh yeah, this has got damage on it. We really need a valve grinder. I wonder if I have another valve. This valve's no good, fellas. All right, we're going to need to take apart one of, yeah, this valve is no good. It's been leaning. That's why she's leaning. Yeah, I'll get you in closer. That valve is no good. All right, we got to see if we have another valve from one of my other motors. So that's where we're at. I'll be back in a little bit. I'll get you a quick close-up on this. Maybe I'll run it over the wire wheel too, just to show you. But yeah, we're going to need another valve. Okay. Be right back. But this is just tortured right there too, right where that bead would be. So it's actually like almost like missing a piece. See it all? Good there, but it's pounded. All right, let's see what we got. And look, you can see in there. See all the gook in there? I have another flashlight. Yeah, she's bad. All right, we'll get all that cleaned up. The seat looks okay. The hardened seat on the exhaust looks like it's okay. All right, I had another valve handy. This valve is a little bit newer. I'll show you the engine in a minute, but it's the same. I just checked it. I get about 10 thousandths clearance, maybe 11. But it's because the seat, the valve itself is more robust, way more robust. And you can see the damage on that old valve. Right? So what we're going to do is we're going to clean it up and we're going to lap it in. It really doesn't even need any cleaning, but we'll give it a quick cleaning. Let me clean everything. This is a Tecumseh motor. It's a little bit newer. It has the side shaft over here, right? Camshaft drive, snowblower or whatever application. I don't want to ruin this motor, but it's been used for parts. I pulled another valve out of it for the green rider with the Tecumseh 10 horsepower. This is a nice motor, right? It's all relieved here. But it's been a parts motor for now. And so let me work with this. And I may even just use the better valve spring that came with the valve, and it's this updated retainer, so we don't have the pin. And I think this will work. Let me keep working. Look at all those wires, fellas. Right? And the crazy camera setup. Now, here's the setup. So I'm plugged in. I got a variable speed controller here. I've got my nice old Makita die grinder, and I'm going to use up a bunch of different old heads to get started. We're going to get in there, and we're going to get that all cleaned out. Let me get into the light, too. And, yeah, let's get started. I'm going to run in here first, get that all cleaned up, finish the polish, and then we'll lower this thing down. We'll come from the top, because I got to be real careful. All right. I'll be back. Let me clean this up a little bit more. Yeah, that's a lot of gack. All right, we just got to be careful, but we'll get in there and we'll do our business. Yeah, that's good. Get rid of some of that gook, because it's just too much. Yeah, she's good. All right. I think that's good. I'm going to pass a little finer one in. And then we'll come from the top. I'll lower it down some more. But she looks real good. Don't see any issues. I'll get you a look in there in a minute. Well, we got all the carbon out, at least to there. And I got most of the carbon out in here. And we'll finish that up in a minute. So let me go find, let's see, this one will fit in most of the way. It's a little more of a medium. And I'll put just a couple of passes in. You can actually leave it kind of coarse because intake likes that. Oh yeah, I'll pull the light this way too, if that helps. Might be too much, but you see how clean that is? Man, that's good. There we go. And we're getting better up here. I'm gonna go in right quick with the coarse, of course, and just to remove anything. So let me take a peek in there. Yeah. That's beautiful. Now I got something. This is a nice one. I forget what grit it is, but this will work. Like just a change mandrels. We don't need that long one. I don't have control. I gotta be careful. All right, we gotta be real careful here. Don't want to hit that seat. Oh yeah. Good enough. All right, let me clean it up. Let me clean up in here. We'll clean all this off, and then I'll bring you back. Ooh. Oh, she's getting her lipstick on. Yeah, that's perfect. Oh, she's getting all gussied up, fellas. All gussied up. Look at her. Oh, yeah. I cleaned up in here, put some of the junk away, stuff away, even purried myself up a little bit, if I don't mind saying so myself. So now, everything's cleaned up. I put a little bit of lubricant down in here. All right, we'll get a little more in there. Just a little bit of a tranny sauce. And to start off with, all right, this is the intake valve. Hold on, I think we'll do the exhaust valve first. I want to kind of treat that seat a little bit. And to do that, we're going to put a little lubricant on this piece of sandpaper here. And then we're just going to lay it in there, and we're just going to go around in complete circles a bunch of times, just pressing down. Right, it's actually a little higher than I want. I could probably stand on something, but it's good for everything else. Let me stand on something. Hold on. I think I'll put a little something underneath my feet. Get a little bit better leverage. Yeah, that's better. All right, just complete circles. And we're just going to go around a little bit. And we're using, the concentricity basically of the valve. I tried this earlier, but you can't. You have to do it like this. And I'm just going to go around a bunch of times. Let's take a peek in a minute. Come back. All right. Valve's all clean. And that's just kind of dressing the seat a little bit. Yeah. And you can also get rid of burrs and such. Did that on the other Tecumseh motor. We'll come back and we'll lap it into place. We'll try and lap it. Right, which is not easy because the suction cup routine is such a pain in the neck. There's other ways of doing it, but it takes a bit. But it's definitely working because you can see it's kicking up some material. Oh yeah, she's starting to get shiny, right? Oh yeah, fellas, yeah! Right, that's getting good. I see a little bit of something over there, but that'll come out with a little bit more work. And I'm going to do the other one as well. We'll do the intake as well. And then I'll set up for a lap. And I think we're going to be golden, right? I'm not seeing anything bad in here. I'll be back. I'm going to go work on that for a little bit. Looking good. She's looking good. She's a little cranky. Get it. Okay, she's perfect. All right. And then we're just going to put a little bit more lube. I blew everything out, cleaned it. Just a good quickie. The seal feels good too. Intakes have seals underneath, so be careful with that. A little wear on the stem. That's major. Let's put, let's see, I mixed up a nice slurry. This is, might need to be a little bit thicker. I'm going to find a spot for it. So I'll usually put a little toothpaste in too. I think it might need to be a little bit thicker. I'm just going to butter it on. And then be careful because you don't want to get it in the valve guide. Alright, down it goes. Hitting the rag. Now, let's see if we can get this to work. This is always a pain in the neck. I'm going to be in your way. I have to put a little soap or something on it. Well, we just want to spin it a bunch of times. Yeah, let's put a little soap on it or something. There we go. That's it. You can hear it too. Hear it? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That's getting a little too wet, I think. Oh, geez, Ed. Yeah. Yeah, let's wipe it off a little. Oh, I gotta wipe it off. Let me get a towel. All right, you guys get the idea. I'm gonna go work on this for a little bit. We'll come back. We'll take a peek, but let's just, before I go, let's just take a look at our progress. Oh, yeah, she's perfect. Oh, yeah, it's like a gray line. Remember, it was shiny, and there's a gray line all the way around. Could use a little bit more here, right? But that's the seat itself. It's a little thin in that area. Glad we spent a little bit of time on that. Oh, dudes. Let me see if I can get you in. And if it'll... Yeah, look at that. Look at that. Oh, look at that. Beauteous. Get you in on this camera. Where am I? This one doesn't have the same light. But it's perfect. I'm going to work that a little bit longer. Like another couple of minutes. And then I'll switch to this one. I'm not going to change the formula now because it's working real good. I switched the tool. Well, let me just butter up one last time. All right, let's get a little bit more on there. Sometimes if you put a little bit of grinding compound on the rubber, it helps. This one may or may not work. It's trying to suction on. Yeah, there you go. You lift it up to re-wet the surfaces so it rolls back down. Very light pressure. Just let the drill wait. Yeah, that's better. Keep it slow. Let the material do the cutting. Yeah, I think that's better. Yeah, and it's staying gray, like a lighter gray, and that's telling you that, you know, any dirt, you know, carbon or whatever, that's all gone. You know, any rust or staining, that's gone. Yeah, she's fine. All right, good enough. Oh, she just looks perfect. Yeah, that's perfect. We'll do the next one, and then we'll clean this off. And then I want to put a file over this. You can see here where the insert of the steel is a little bit weird here. Put a file on it. I'll show you what I want to do in a bit, but I'm going to do the intake next. And you can hear the difference, too. You can really hear the change in tone. All right, I got some Dyke Blue down. It's not quite dry yet. I'm going to take this oiled file and make sure it's clean. And we're going to just drive it across just to see. I did it before, but you can use black marker too. Just going to try to hold it flat and make a pass to the end. And you'll see. All right, it's hard to hold it flat, but you can see what's going on. And it's not terrible. All right, we can work this a little bit at a time, very slowly. It's a nice sharp file. And this will drive down. See, you can see that we have some low spots. That's a low spot. All right. This is a low spot because this is our problem area. So I'm going to work this just a little bit longer. And then I'm going to try and put either on this file, okay, or the other file, we're going to put the sandpaper on and just go over it, lightly. And then I have another thing I can use to kind of clean up with, but just very lightly, very little bit at a time. Right, here's another file we can use. Right, I'm going to be trying a couple of different files to drag back and forth, and I'll be back. After a bunch of passes with the file, right, I have one of these blocks. It's very, very flat. It's a very hard Durablock. And it's going to be better than what you see because there's a lot of damage in here. And I'm going to get the little camera in. And you can see all in here, right? It's getting better. And all up in here, that's all leak right here. This is what's going to leak because it's warped. So I'm going to work a little bit longer. And let me get the little camera, maybe get a better shot of that. See, still a lot of blue left here. You have all of that streaking going on. But we're almost there. It's going quick. All right, I'm almost done. I put a little lubricant on and, clean it off with my solvent, a little gas or something. And you'll see it's just keep it flat. Don't let it roll. Make full strokes. And don't press too hard. You don't want to deform the block. All you want to do is just let this slurry do its job. We don't want to cause striations or anything. It's almost done. And then periodically I got to stop to wipe it and clean off the pad a little bit. 180 grit is what I'm using. You see, it makes a nice slurry. And you could see it's almost done. It's got most of it. All right, we don't need to reblue it because we already see, right in here, there's just a little bit of staining, so we're almost done. I'm going to clean the block one more time, work a little bit longer, and then I got to clean everything again, right? So, that's what I got to keep doing, blow it. I'll get a close-up shot, too, with that little camera, and it looks really, really good. What I want to do is just spin it over real quick. There's junk coming out from inside. Probably getting all over my camera. There's dirt like up in there. I tried getting it out. I also drove the cartridge rolls over this area here because there was so much embedded. But I think we're pretty good. There could be also casting flash and stuff up in the engine because it's on the outside of the engine too. And that was one of the problems with some of these old engines, and that's what can cause their wear and their premature failure. I think we look real good here. I'm not going to remove any more. Like, that's just a bit of staining. The gasket can deal with that, especially with the rest of it flatter. It's much flatter. Is it absolutely perfect? No, you need to mill it. But poor man's mill. Yeah, okay, that's a nice close-up. You want to bring the piston down a little bit. Look at that. Just beautiful. Looks really good. All right, so next morning, I was just hanging out with TJ for a little bit. So we got the valve all done. All right, so this is the new intake exhaust valve, right? And because we spent some time, there's another reason why I spent some time with the sandpaper on the seat and everything. So now we have, it actually made the valve recede down, right? Remember I mentioned earlier. So we've lost some clearance, which is good because it was a little wide. And now I'm getting, this is, remember it's between 4 and 10. So that's 7. That fits in good. And I had a little bit of an 8 issue here. This is 8 thousandths. That's point, yeah. That's just about what it is, about 8 thousandths. And if I go with a 9, and they actually tell you do it with the springs out, probably because it's easier. Yeah, and that 9 is really where it is. I can feel it. It's like 9 to 10. So we probably shaved off about, and 10. Yeah, the 10 doesn't really want to go in. It lifts up the valve. Right, I got to actually kind of almost lift up the valve. So I want to say about 9 thousandths. So we're good. We're good there within the spec. This is still 9 thousandths. We're on Now what I want to do is let me check it again. Let's spin the motor over. Let me set up the, well, I'll leave this camera on for now because you're not going to really see anything. So let's go over the motor again real quick. So we're going to go, boom. What valve opens next? All right, we got an exhaust valve, right? So it already fired. There goes the bad gas. We're going to start sucking in. See how the piston's coming down? Sucking in intake. Going to come up to compress, all right? And there's magnets coming up. Well, we can't see the magnet in here, but the magnet will be, you can't really see it from where you are. So right about here, she'll probably fire some there. Around here, usually like a little bit of an advance. So usually the spark plug will fire a little bit before. That makes optimum power, gives some time for the flame front to propagate out, okay, from the kernel. And it'll start to go boom, we're final compression and expansion of gas, bang, here we go, downward. And what they like is about 1/4 inch in the hole, roughly. They want you to check it there. So let's just check it again. So this is really where we want to check it. So let's go back in with my 9. Yeah, the 9 will go in, but the 10 is a little bit better. So we're just about within spec. It feels like, you know, it could be a little bit more. And here's a 9, a 10 there. So I would like it tighter, but there's no way, there's nothing we can do about that. It can be, if I was going to have a little bit more leeway, it would be on the exhaust valve because the exhaust expands more. So you're going to want more clearance on the exhaust than the intake. Up, that 9 basically tried to lift it. Yeah, that 9 is lifting the valve. Slightly. So we're on the bigger end. Yeah, that's fitting in. And it's, I can actually feel it. It's almost lifting the valve. So we're about 8 there, right? So we're on the wider end of the spec, but we're okay, all right? We're okay. Now, I wanted to show you fellas in this camera here. Let's take this out. So I wanted to show you is, so when it goes in, this is the retainer at the top. Excuse me, this is the retainer at the top here. All right, so that's going to go up against there. That's where it would live. Then the spring. Then the other retainer, okay, and then this is the pin, and that's how these were, all right, with that pin there, and that's the older variant. Then they changed it slightly, and they went to the newer variant, and these are the spring. This is the spring package. This is actually the newer one. So I wanted to show you this, so you see how it hooks in. It's like a bayonet mount something. So it kind of goes in through the hole, the big hole, see. And then it comes over and it hangs and hooks in, and then it can't go anywhere under tension. Okay? So when we go to install this, right, we're going to come down and we're going to try to pass it through the big hole, and then we just got to lift it up enough and shove it over till it locks, and then it can't come out. All right, so we're going to start off with, we want to put those springs in now, but what I want to do is take a little bit of this is bearing guard, just a thick break-in lube. Now let me back out a little. And we're going to take a little bit. I just want to put it on the valve seats. And we're going to squeeze a little bit down into the hole right where the guide is, the valve guide. Right, just on the seats. And I like to put a little bit around the gasket surface, because as it torques, just a light sheen, nothing fancy, because as it torques it's going to move a little, and right, and this will help with break-in. And we're going to put a little bit, and we want to install the valves here, right? We're going to put a little bit on the piston, and what we'll do is we'll bring it down. All right, now it's already got some lube in it, but we're going to put a little bit in the hole, right, around everything here, just so that we have a little bit of something to start over. This stuff is real thick, and it sticks to the bearing surfaces. You know, your engine bearings and your crank and your connecting rods, but it's nice as an assembly lube, because if you store your engine for any length of time, which that's usually the case, right, this stuff will stay where you want it. And then we want to put a little bit on the lifter. So I'm just going to reach in there, a dollop there, And I'm going to let a little bit druze in to the hole, just a little bit. Going to make a little bit of a mess. And then we'll put a little bit as well on the valve face. It's going to smoke. And all across the stem. Right? Same thing with this guy. All on the stem and the valve face. And now we can assemble. And I got to wipe my hands off, right? So that's all we need there. I just wrapped a bungee around it, right? That's all it needed. Just something, if I had another person, it would be fine. And now I can lift the valve up, see? And that means now I can lift it up enough. Maybe I'll get a little pair of needle nose or something, because my big fingers won't do this. But you can kind of grab it and then slide it in. See, now there's the lock. Okay, it's locked on there. And I'll get the little camera and I'll show you it laying like that. And then when I let the pressure off, we just got to make sure that the spring comes down and it all stays together. So simple solutions, fellas. Like, see, bungee wrapped around, just so the tool stays. And you see, it's actually laying on the lock. Okay. I don't know if this light will help at all. Okay. All we got to do is just release the tool. That's it. All right, and the pressure is on. Slide it out of the way, and we're on. Okay, and I got to repeat the one. Now this one's a little bit different because it's got a pin. So we want to put the valve spring in the correct way. Once again, because it's got these little steps that we got to get over. This spring feels a little softer. Let me see if the other spring is better, because this one feels a little bit softer. Let's see. They're basically the same. Right? It's a little bit different than the new one had a little bit better spring on it. Right? Just lift it right over that. And now this guy. Right? Now this set actually is different. Like, you actually put the two keepers in, or I should say they were like guys or part of the retainer assembly, and you got to get them in there, and you just have to kind of use your screwdriver and get them seated. All right, that's good. It feels like it's seated. Now we got to get it up again. We may have to move this light and set up the bungee on the other side, because I get the feeling we'll be back to bungee. Unfortunately, here, hold on. We have a problem here. All right, we got to cap this little hole. That's a down hole, because if I don't put something on it and I drop that pin down there, I'm screwed. Let me go see if I have a little something to shove in there. Anything that we can get back out that it doesn't fall in as well, right? Precaution, stand by. All right, I put a piece of used sandpaper, which is good because it'll help hold the screwdrivers too. Just anything so that we don't screw up. Now, I know you're not going to be able to see it, but we got to lift up, keep the screwdrivers apart, give it a tap till she pops through, right? Because we probably lost our footing or correct alignment again. Light taps, just it'll go through when it's ready. Okay, because I stopped, I had it right where I wanted it, and because I had to stop. See, I like this though. A little bit of sandpaper here. It actually helps me to hold everything. All right, I might want to go get the other screwdriver that I have. All right, let's see, I got a better screwdriver. Yeah, that's a better screwdriver. It's a little thicker. Yeah, there we go. That's more like what I'm talking about. We got to kind of hold it with our fingers. There we go. And with the pressure on it, it's down. Okay. It's done. See? And now we'll move everything over. Just check. Up it goes. Right, looks like it's seated good. Let me get my flashlight on that. I don't like the pen.
The pin is much design. It's a little cheesy. Just make sure it's seated all the way around. Yeah, she's in there. It looks like she might be in there. Yeah. Just make sure she's sitting flat and flush. Okay. Good to go. We got our grease in there. All right, give it a blow. Put some compressed air. Let me go put my stuff away. Now, I also found, I might as well steal the baffle from here, right? I steal the better baffle. I'll do that. Let me put that on in a minute. This is the one from the parts motor, right? That's what it looks like in there. It's just a simple baffle with a flapper. And there's nothing fancy here. I already cleaned off some of this. I think there's still a little zit there. Get my little razor blade. And now we have vent tube blowing away from everything. That's your road draft tube. All right, fellas, let's lower it down. We got to put the head on, and then we're going to test for compression. All right, last look, fellas. All right, with the valves all nice and installed. All right, I'm going to go put these down. We'll retorque. And in a few minutes, shortly thereafter, we will know. Let's check them. Yeah, it came up quick, right? Because it's not having to fight warp. All right. Put the gauge in, spin it up. Yeah, we're gonna find out. We're gonna find out if it works. All right, it's gonna be the moment of truth. Now, a lot of you guys are gonna be saying, "Oh, Archie, put sandpaper. He's gonna ruin it, and it's not gonna work." All right, make your calls now. Write it down. What do you think we're gonna get? Write it down in the comments. You know, "Oh, Archie, he put stuff in there. He ruined it. He's crazy. He's using body working sandpaper, thinks he's a mechanic, doesn't know anything. It's not gonna work." And then if it gets good compression, you guys be, "No, well, it's gonna blow up when it goes to run. It's not gonna." Yeah, I know. Moment of truth, fellas. Moment of truth. I get to see it first. You guys ain't gonna see shit. Okay. Let me see. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Uh-oh. Oh, we don't have enough pressure. Uh-oh. I see 50. Yeah, we don't have it. She's already smoking. Oh, it hit 50. All right, you gotta wait. You're gonna have to wait, fellas. She already hit 50 and stopped. She's got compression, bros. You're not gonna see it. The gauge leaked down. Oh, Arch, what are you doing? You're gonna have to wait. All right, what we're gonna do... You have to wait. That drill won't handle it. You want to see if I can use the electric drill? Hold on, let's put it back. Let me get the big electric drill, all right? Because you guys are going to cry. If the big electric drill don't do it, then we got to wait, okay? Because I haven't set up the electrical system yet. I'll be right back. Hold on. Oh, you're killing me. What's wrong with you? I know, fellas. You got to wait. You got to wait. All right, here we go. Here we go again. All right, let's see. We got the big electric drill out. Okay, let me see how I'm going to hold this. We'll see what we got here. Oh, boy. Now, you guys are probably going to see it before I do, which is not appropriate. All right, can I twist it a little bit to me and you guys can still see it a little bit? Let me get my glasses on so I can read this. So hopefully this will spin it. Shit. Oh boy. Oh yeah, we got way over 50 pounds. Okay, that's enough. Damn, that thing's got ass behind it. And it does have, I believe it does have a bleed off on it because I saw a valve event. Should have dwelled on that a little bit more. But yeah, we got
Yeah, that thing was really, wow. Yeah, that's plenty, all right? That's plenty, fellas. I think there's a difference, right? Close to 60s, we'll probably hit close to, unfortunately this thing leaks down because it's beat. I need a new one. But yeah, let me clean up. We're going to pull this back off, the flywheel off and everything. I'll set the camera back up. And we'll pull this flywheel off. We'll get in there and we're going to go treat the points to a little bit of love and care. Now remember, there's still covers and everything we need to put back, so we'll have to take these a couple off and recheck and torque. But that's after we clean it another day. I'll be back.
All right, fellas, what do you think? All right, Arch, why is it so long? Because it takes a long, and I cut out a lot. This takes a long time to do. Hopefully you guys are enjoying some of it, but to go over something this old, as I said in the beginning, oh, there goes the air compressor. Arch, why don't you shut that stuff off before, I even have a light that tells me it's on to remind me, and it's a shop, guys. It's where I am. It's where I live. I live in a shop, right? My dream is to have an even bigger shop, like a gigantic warehouse, something like the size of like Diesel Creek, what he got, or some of the other fellas, and then I'm going to put like a loft or something to the side or whatever, and do something like Camerata, right? Like Andrew, he's got like that whole thing upstairs in that castle, in the Connex castle. That's awesome, right? Just like live there, right? It's like just anyway, right? Don't we all dream? So I'm very happy with the size of the shop anyway, but I'm always in it and it's just noisy in here. So we're going to come back and we're going to get the motor back together. We went over the valves. You saw what I did to the combustion chamber area and everything. And now you see, right, that we have something, I guess you would say this should be something that we can work with, right? But this, a few more surprises I have under my sleeve. And we're going to see some of that in the next episode, so stay tuned for that. The motor may be savable, all right? So far, we're getting further, and maybe we can save this engine. If not for this machine, because I have other ideas, but maybe for a different one or something. I try to save these things because they're not around as much, especially, like I said, up here. They're just not. In other places, you have access a little bit more. You can reach out. Like where Zippo is, he can reach out a little further. Some of you fellas are in areas like in Texas and other places like that. There's ghost towns, like what I call, right? There are areas where, for whatever reason, stuff sits. It just does. You see this with the big rig stuff, right? Areas of this country with a lot of big rigs are sitting somewhere on somebody's property, farmer's property, whatever. Somebody retires. There's these all kinds of stuff that's going on across the United States, and a lot of us are trying to save this stuff and put it back together again and make it useful. Maybe you can sell it. An engine like this, if I actually put it together and I don't use it, all right, maybe somebody else needs it if I'm not using it. Maybe I just keep it with the tractor and put it aside. Anyway, that's all stuff we can talk about in the next episode. Next episode, we're gonna try to get this thing running. We got to go over the ignition next, all right? I want to make sure the ignition is okay. There's some other things with the machine. I'm having issues with the ignition switch. She's old, right? Every time you go to touch one thing, something else is going to break or not be right, and then you have to go to that. All right, I just ate breakfast, and I'm like, I got to get started with my day. I'm sitting here fooling around, talking to you guys. I'll see you guys on the next episode.